This clip is looking at the sociology versus science debate and considering whether we can actually really trust science to be as true as science generally claims to be. Some recent research has come out through an article called Broken Science, which found that scientists can't produce some of the key landmark studies from the scientific community. And they did a couple of projects. One of them looked at cancer research, for example. They weren't able to reproduce the actual data that was found in the initial research. The key research method in science is experimental replication, what we would probably call reliability, the notion that someone can repeat the experiment and get the very similar or exactly the same results. The problem is that if scientific findings can generally be considered accurate if any researcher using the same procedure gets the same results, which in sociology, like I said, is reliability. However, this is not happening. The research done in 2012, that's kind of come to a culmination more recently, researchers replicated some research and they found only 6 out of 53 landmark published preclinical cancer studies could be replicated. It's what's known as reproducibility. So these cancer studies that we've been basing quite a lot of our treatments on, or ideas about cancer, they are actually not reproducible. Only 11% of them were reproducible. A similar bit of research was done on psychology experiments in 2015, after 5 years of trying to repeat these experiments, and 64% of these experiments could not be replicated in 2015. Why is this? Essentially, there is so much pressure within the scientific community to make the big discovery, and that can be for a variety of reasons, okay? Particularly funding. Scientific research is done on the basis of grants or funding from government to big business to entrepreneurs. And they really want to please their funders so they continue funding their research. They have job security, for example. So good results generally are played up, and those that perhaps don't fit in with their hypothesis proving or disproving are often ignored. There's also evidence that researchers in the initial bits of research is either rounded up or rounded down the figures, leading to sort of minute inaccuracies, but these kind of were cumulative inaccuracies if they were doing that for every single calculation, for example. And actually what's really an issue is there is limited funding for retesting available once a discovery is made. It's quite challenging to turn around and say, oh, I've made this big cancer breakthrough, fantastic, to then say about a year later, oh, can I have some funding to test if that study is true? That's not something that investors are willing to kind of spend a lot of money on. So there is an argument that there is a reproducibility crisis, and there's some survey results from the scientific communities who were asked, is there a reproducibility crisis? 52% say there's yes, there's a significant one. So when we think about how to use this example in a question whether sociology should be a science, it goes back to that argument that actually science itself isn't necessarily the gold standard of truth. Science itself isn't necessarily reliable, as everyone would think it is. So therefore, sociology shouldn't possibly be striving to be like science, because science itself isn't all that great. And that could be something you consider in your essay. Thank you.